You might have heard that live shopping is exploding. And I have to tell you, I have been on Whatnot for a couple of weeks now, and I see why it is. Now, Whatnot is my sponsor, and they are the reason I got on the platform and checked it out. I'm glad they did. They made it easy for me. I'm going to make it easy for you. I love it. Whatnot is where you get great products without paying full price. It's that simple. I'm hooked on their live shows, too. You got to see them. They're so much fun. And I see why Whatnot has climbed to the top of the App Store. And listen, if you're selling online, or maybe you have a storefront and you're hoping people will find your listing or maybe walk in your store, Whatnot flips that, because on Whatnot, you go live and you sell directly to people in real time. And I may admit, although you didn't hear from me, I may have picked up a couple of power tools or so in the past couple of days. I'm just saying. Whatnot, it's the largest dedicated live shopping platform with beauty, collectibles, electronics, luxury, fashion, even cookies, and anyone can sell. In fact, people who sell on Whatnot sell 10 times as much as any other major marketplace. That's because you're not just listing products, you're building real connections with buyers. So whether you're shopping or you're selling, download the Whatnot app today and get free shipping on your first order. Just search WHATNOT, Whatnot, in the App Store and start scoring amazing deals. So I was whining to my wife the other day, said, I need new glasses. And she said, well, get some. I couldn't tighten them anymore. They were scratched. You know the thing, right? But I didn't want to go through the process because you have to make the appointment. You have to spend weeks to get them done. And you got to pay a fortune, right? That's real. But I did. I spent $500 on frames and glasses, and that was cheap. And then I ordered a pair from my sponsor, Zenni Optical, for $70. Zenni is an online eyewear shop, prescription glasses, sunglasses, blue light lenses, starting at under $30. You go to Zenni.com, you pick a frame, upload your prescription, and they ship it to your door. No appointment, no store, no upsell at the counter. And by the way, if you are saying, do I really need new glasses, or do I have to put up with one pair to do everything I need to do for the next 2 years? No, you can get what you want starting at under $30. And if you've never bought glasses online, don't worry about it. I haven't either. Zenni has a virtual try-on so you can see exactly how the frame looks before you commit to buying them, with no salesman looking at you saying, those look good, but these expensive ones would look better. No, you don't get that. I'm excited. I can't wait to get my Zenni glasses and tell you more about them. If your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now's the time. Go to Zenni.com/podcast and use the code podcast15 for 15% off your first order. The styles sell out, so don't sit on it. That's Zenni.com/podcast. Promo code podcast15. Wow. What a week it has been, huh? Purposeful goal setting, how to find your purpose, aiming for success. We're doing nothing better than doing something. And today, we're back on that three-letter word that freaks people out. Why? 4,000 episodes of the Daily Boost as of today. Frankly, I think I lost count. I've actually done more than that, but this is what I can officially say I've done. On my way to my goal of 5,000 episodes is a big why. To get to 5,000, I've been thinking about my why I do this program, why I keep moving forward, and why you should have your strong why too. A little bit of a twist on it for you today, different than most folks. It is the Daily Boost from motivationtomove.com. Every single day, life begins when you move, but you got to make stuff happen. A lot of it's mindset, a lot of it's flat out strategy. I just believe in this. If you have the mindset right, basically, if you have your mindset in the right spot, there are certain things that work. We talked about it a couple of days ago. Do what works. There are certain things that work. The biggest challenge is finding those things that work. That's why I'm here. I don't talk about anything that doesn't work. So whatever I put out there today is something that will work for you if you go out and try it. You don't have to. You can test it if you want to. You can throw it away if you want to. But I don't talk about things that don't work. So that's how I see things. If you have a strong why, if you know direction you're going, all you have to do is find the things that work. If you find those work, then put the action in and get it done. That's simple. How are you? My name is Scott Smith, founder, chief motivating officer at motivationtomove.com. Yes, 4,000 episodes. I think in the transition, several years ago, it was probably 7 or 8 years ago now, my daughter, who used to handle all that number keeping stuff, and then she decided to go off and be a full-time mom. And when she did, I think I got kind of off track. So I think there's actually a little bit more than that. But again, I'm going to stay at the ones I know I have. 4,000 today. Can you believe that? And people say, Scott, two things. A, how do you do so many podcasts? And my answer is always one day at a time. And the second thing is, well, how do you keep coming up with ideas? How do you keep generating content, if you will? How are you such a content machine? And that's a bigger answer. And it's one I could probably teach you how to do. In fact, I do some folks. But the bottom line is this. It's within my passion zone. I love to do it. I have a mission for it. I show up and I turn on the microphone and stuff happens. That's the coolest thing. So what's my goal now? Well, initially I said my goal is 5,000 episodes. So officially as of Monday, we have 999 to go. And I'm going to count down to 5,000. It should take me about 5 years. That is the goal. It's been the goal from the beginning. And I think that'll be good enough. Friday, we talk about a very simple prospect, a very simple question is, how do you want to feel? The other day I was climbing a mountain. I just wanted to feel like I could breathe. It was so bad. But I was thinking about mindset, about how I want to feel and how the mind changes. And you really have to be in the right spot when you do that. Because I was going up the mountain, taking a lot of breaks. It was a steep climb. It was hot. It was not fun. I wasn't liking life at the time. But pretty crazy. My wife's up in front of me, and she goes, "Hey, I can see the crests. We're coming over the ridge now." And amazing how I was so easily able just to hike it up the rest of the mountain. Mindset's everything, I'm telling you. But when you ask that question, how do you want to feel? I was thinking, I just want to feel like I'm done with this hiking downhill. And that's okay. It got me over the top and down I went. But you can do it in life every single day. Take a few minutes and decide how you want to feel emotionally, physically, intellectually. You decide. You make it happen. Excuse me. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. So no doubt you have heard that grand goals require that you understand completely, very much inside your heart and soul, down to the point that nobody else can understand you. You understand why you're going after a goal. Now, you've heard that before in the world that I live in, the personal development, the self-improvement world. It's known as what's your why? And you hear this all the time. And it's a really good thing. Now, sometimes I tend to go past that, but because I usually know my why before I get going. But it is extremely I'm not going to stop, but I'm going to have to stop and clear my throat. I never stop, but hang on. Okay. You didn't need to hear that. I didn't want to share that with you. It wasn't pretty. So in the world that you live in, that I live in, the whole thing, asking what is your why is really important. Now, here's why. Because the biggest reason for you to know your why, this is kind of 101 stuff, is that if you want to do something, you have to understand that everything is probably going to be more complicated and more difficult than you initially imagined. I know that you think it's going to be easy. I know your dream of it, your vision of it was like, I just go out and do this. But how often does that actually happen? I mean, the really big stuff, the big-ass stuff, the stuff you really go after, it doesn't. It's always a pain in the butt, and you got to work through it. You got to figure it out. You got to cry in your beer a couple of times, right? You know it's true. Scott, you could be more positive than that. Yeah, I could. But I think it's pretty darn positive to recognize that sometimes you run into the wall 15 times before you figure out, oh, there's a door right there. It was painted the same color as the wall. See, sometimes it's difficult. So you got to pound your head in the wall a few times. You have a strong why. I'm going to figure out how to get through this wall, or you'll give up. You will. If it's important, you'll do it. And that's why you want that there. It needs to be automatic. I actually think the why has to be your mission. Just to take it one step further, I think your mission for what you're on is what is the benefit of the why. When you have an understand why, when you know why you want to do something, usually there's going to be a mission attached to it. Nothing will stop you when they have that mission. But many folks forget that the real why may be hiding in front of you, inside of you, to the back of you, beyond that wall, around the corner. It may be hiding. It's hard to figure out what the real why is. And sometimes you're chasing something, and yet your day-to-day actions aren't necessarily going in that direction. It's probably because your why is not in alignment. So a long time ago, I was in the first couple of 100 episodes of this podcast. You know, most podcasts don't get beyond 5 episodes. I was just in the first couple of 100 of them. It used to be a big deal to celebrate the first year. Hey, 1 year, 260 episodes. Now we're at 4,000. It's crazy. Oh, sidebar, I've done over 11,000 podcasts now. Different podcasts, personally produced and voiced by me. Just 4,000 Daily Boost episodes. But a long time ago, during those first couple 100 Daily Boost episodes, a mentor of mine, friend, he asked why I was focused on a speaking career at the time. Because I was focused really heavily on a speaking career. That's what I wanted to do. So I'd go and keynote speak, do stuff like that. And I've done a whole bunch of that stuff. And but I was focused on it like crazy, and I was doing this podcast, and having real success with the podcast, and real success with the coaching and all the other stuff that are attached to this podcast. But I was still leaning back on the speaking career. It's like I would do the podcast, but I was going to speaker, right, and do that. And so I jokingly said, well, speaking? To get me out of the house. That's it. Because the podcast I'm recording in my house, my home studio, and I speak, I get out and meet people, and get me out of the house. That's what I jokingly said. I was half joking, and the other half was serious, and it might have been even more serious than joking. But frankly, I was happy with my life the way it was. I had nothing to prove by getting on stage. It's not a driver for me. And I inadvertently found out that I could reach more people, and it was a whole lot easier to stay home. I made a whole lot more money by staying home. It's important that you make you know this. If you can stay home and make money, it's awesome. You might have known that not known that until a year and a half ago when COVID hit, but now you do. So I figured out by doing a podcast, I could make a great living. I could basically run my life the way I wanted to run. I didn't have to go anywhere. Never had to get on an airplane. And while I was pushing out to do that, every time I did, I would be sitting on the airplane going, okay, this is kind of cool. It's kind of a pain in the butt. You've been to airports, you've been to hotels. It's still awesome. It's still cool, but it just wasn't vibing with me, right? Like to do it, just didn't want to do it all the time. He didn't buy my answer. See, I don't like to do it, and yet I was still focused on the career. I was liking doing the podcast, but I was still talking about the speaking thing, and he wasn't buying it at all. So I had some more conversation about it. He said, you know what? You're not excited about the business of speaking. You like it. You can do it. It's fun. You like to impact the audience. In fact, that's what it's all about. So you don't really, for you, it's not about being a speaker. It's about the impact that you can have on your audience, no matter where you get that impact. You're focused on your result, wherever it may happen. And it's happening on a Daily Boost podcast. Wow. Boom, bang, kapow. Those are from the 60s. Those, I stole that directly off Batman. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It was a big deal. Now, I still do both. I still push both. One definitely impacts the other. It's a different kind of audience, different kind of presentation. But the driver, if I'm going to sit down and create something that makes me happy, it's going to be something like this. It's not likely going to be something like that. And it's really important because the why, when I flip it around, it changes for me. Of course, I already knew that. But it's so easy to get caught up in the process and forget or not admit to yourself what's driving you. But over time, what I've learned is when I start here, when I impact in the way that I can have the most possible impact in the world and do it in the way that I do it, the way I do it, which is different than anybody else on the planet. Anything can grow from this, and I can drive this to whatever dream that I have. Speaking, books, doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference in the world. I can do it all from this position. That's my driver. What's your driver? What's your why? What are you going after? Are you doing something right now that's in your... There's something else in your mind while you're doing this? Are you happily toying at something every single day and you're thinking about something else? Well, the question would be, why the hell aren't you doing it? If you're not doing what you're thinking about, you got to question that. You got to decide, hey, do I really want to do it? Or am I digging where I am? Or is there something else I need to go after? You got to admit, that's a good question. Just very late on the podcast on a Friday. But at 4,000 episodes, you should get a good question. You should. All right, I think I'm going to leave. We're actually in the RV, and we are locating to a new location. We're heading south now, heading back to Florida to do some business down there. And that'll be the next couple of days to head that direction. Next time you hear from me, I will be in Port Orange, Florida, for at least a few weeks. And we'll see what happens after that. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday right here on the Daily Boost.